Hello students, let us start with next chapter of biology, that is chemical coordination and integration. So in this chapter we will learn about endocrine system and the glands and hormones which they release. So endocrine glands generally include ductless glands. They are found at various places in our body. These glands secrete a chemical called hormones. These hormones are non-nutrient chemical that acts as an intracellular messenger and are produced in trace amounts. So the main endocrine glands in the body are hypothalamus, pituitary, pineal gland, thyroid gland, parathyroid gland, thymus, adrenal and pancreas. Let us first study about the hypothalamus. The neurosecretory cells of hypothalamus secrete these hormones, releasing hormones, inhibiting hormones, oxytocin and vasopressin. So the releasing hormones basically stimulate secretion of pituitary hormones like gonadotropin releasing hormones stimulate gonadotropins from pituitary. The inhibiting hormone secretes the kind of hormones which inhibit the release of growth hormone from the pituitary. So an example would be somatostatin. Then we have oxytocin and vasopressin. These are transported axonally and they are stored in pituitary. This gland is located in bony cavity called sella tristica and it is attached to the hypothalamus by a stalk. The various parts of the pituitary gland, these parts are adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. These adenohypophysis basically is the anterior part and the neurohypophysis is the posterior part. So this anterior part is again divided into two parts. So these are pars distalis and pars intermedia. If we talk about the anterior pituitary gland, then it produces these hormones, the growth hormone, prolactin, the thyroid stimulating hormone, the adrenocorticotropic hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, and luteinizing hormone. The growth hormone or somatotropin is responsible for how tall a person is. So over-secretion of this hormone would cause abnormal growth and the person would look like a giant. Hyposecretion, that is less secretion of this hormone, will cause dwarfism and the person would be stunted. Oversecretion of the growth hormone in adults, mainly in the middle age, causes acromegaly, that is a severe disfigurement, especially of the face, as you can see in the picture. This leads to severe complications and premature death. Early diagnosis of this disease is very difficult. It may be undetected for many years. The anterior pituitary also produces prolactin that regulates the growth of mammary glands and milk production, thyroid stimulating hormone which stimulates the secretion of thyroid hormones from the thyroid gland, and adrenocorticotropic hormone which stimulates the synthesis and secretion of steroid hormones from the adrenal cortex. The follicle stimulating hormone is responsible for the gonadal activity. In males, the follicle stimulating hormone and the androgens regulate sperm formation, that is spermatogenesis. And in female, this hormone stimulates the growth and development of the ovarian follicle. It also secretes luteinizing hormone, which again stimulates the gonadal activity. In male, it stimulates the synthesis and secretion of androgens from testes, and in females, it includes ovulation and maintains the corpus luteum. In humans, it is almost merged with the pars distilis. This pars imageria, as you can see, is almost merged with this section. This produces a hormone called melanocyte stimulating hormone. This acts on melanocytes to regulate the pigmentation of the skin. Neurohypophysis shows oxytocin and vasopressin. Oxytocin contracts the smooth muscles. In female, it stimulates the contraction of uterus at the time of childbirth and milk ejection from the mammary glands. Vasopressin or antidiuretic hormone stimulates the reabsorption of water and electrolytes by DCT of kidney, that is distal convoluted tube of the kidney, and thereby reduces diuresis, that is loss of water through urine. Deficiency of ADH results in diminished ability of the kidney to conserve water, leading to water loss and dehydration. This is called diabetes insipidus. The pineal gland is the smallest endocrine gland. It is located on the dorsal side of the forebrain and it secretes melatonin. The function of melatonin is that it regulates the diurnal rhythm of the body, that is your sleep and wake cycle, the body temperature, and such changes. It also influences metabolism, pigmentation, and menstrual cycle. It influences our defense capabilities. The largest endocrine gland of the body is the thyroid gland. This includes two lobes located on either side of the trachea. The lobes are interconnected with isthmus, which is a connective tissue. So this thyroid gland is composed of follicles and stromal tissues. The follicular cells secrete thyroxine, that is T4, and triiodothyronine, that is T3. They also secrete something called TCT, that is thyrocalcitonin. So these are the hormones which regulate metabolisms in our body. The function of thyroxine, that is T4 and T3, are similar. These include the regulation of basic metabolic rate, physical, mental, and sexual development. They support RBC formation. They control metabolism of carbohydrates, proteins, and fat. And they also help in maintaining water and electrolyte balance. Thyrocalcitonin is a protein hormone which lowers the blood calcium level. Iodine is essential for normal synthesis of thyroid. So if a person lacks iodine in the diet, then the person will suffer from goiter. This results mainly in enlargement of the thyroid gland because there is less iodine present in the diet. In adult women, it will cause irregular menstrual cycle. Hypothyroidism during pregnancy affects the baby, causing stunted growth, mental retardation, low intelligent quotient, abnormal skin, and deaf mutism. So, such people should take care and eat foods which are rich in iodine, that is, yogurt, milk, seaweed, and things like that. Abnormal increase of thyroid hormone causes severe effects on the physiological activity. So this is called hyperthyroidism, as we discussed. It is generally caused due to development of the nodules or cancer of the thyroid gland. So cancer of the thyroid gland means that the gland cells are dividing uncontrollably. Exophthalmic goiter is one such situation. It is a form of hyperthyroidism. Its symptoms will include enlargement of thyroid gland, protrusion of eyeballs, increased BMR, and weight loss. Now let us study about the parathyroid gland. So these are four glands which are present on the back side of the thyroid gland, one pair each in two lobes of the thyroid gland. They secrete parathyroid hormone, which is basically a peptide hormone. The functions of this gland includes increase the calcium level in the blood. So they are called hypercalcemic hormones. They stimulate the bone resorption, that is remineralization. They stimulate reabsorption of calcium by renal tubule and increase calcium absorption from the digested food. Along with TCT, it also helps in calcium balance in the body. Thymus gland is a bilobed gland located between lungs behind the sternum on the ventral side of aorta. It secretes thymosin. The functions of these thymosin is that they help in differentiation of T lymphocytes, which provide cell-mediated immunity, and they promote antibody production for humoral immunity. Thymus is degenerated in old individuals, so production of thymosin decreases. As a result, immune responses of old person becomes very weak. The adrenal gland has two parts, that is adrenal cortex, which is outer part, and adrenal medulla, which is the inner part. The cortex has three layers: inner zona reticularis, middle zona fasciculata, and the outer zona glomerulosa. It produces corticoid hormones such as glucocorticoids, mineral corticoids. Mineral corticoids mainly include the aldosterone and androgenic corticoids. The glucocorticoids are involved in carbohydrate metabolism. They stimulate gluconeogenesis, lipolysis, and proteolysis. Lipolysis means breakdown of lipids, and proteolysis means breakdown of the proteins. They also inhibit cellular uptake and utilization of amino acids. They maintain cardiovascular system and kidney function. The cortisol stimulates RBC production. It produces anti-inflammatory reaction which suppress the immune system. The mineralocorticoids regulate the water balance and the electrolyte balance, osmotic pressure, and blood pressure. Aldosterone stimulates the reabsorption of sodium and water from renal tubules and excretion of potassium and phosphate ions. The androgenic corticoids are required for growth of axial hair, pubic hair, and facial hair during puberty. Deficiency of corticoid hormones affects carbohydrate metabolism. It causes acute weakness and fatigue. This condition is called Addison's disease. So this is what a person having Addison's disease would look like. The adrenal medulla produces catecholamine hormones like adrenaline and noradrenaline. They are rapidly secreted in response to stress emergency situations, and hence they are called emergency hormones or fight or flight hormones. So these hormones will increase a person's alertness. The pupil in the eye will dilate. It will also call pyroerection, that is raising of hairs of the body. This is generally useful in other mammals, not humans. It will increase sweating. It will increase the heartbeat, heart contraction, and respiratory rate. They also simulate breakdown of glycogen to increase the glucose in blood, and also stimulate the breakdown of lipids and proteins. Pancreas is a composite gland, that is, it is an exocrine as well as an endocrine gland. Islet of Langerhans are a part of its endocrine portion. These are about 1.2 million in number. The alpha cells and the beta cells in the islet secrete glucagon and insulin. So these two hormones are extremely important in glucose homeostasis in blood. Glucagon acts on hepatocyte and stimulates glycogenolysis, which results in an increased blood sugar. So basically what it is doing is that it is increasing the glucose level by breaking down the glycogen which is present. So this condition is called hyperglycemia. This stimulates gluconeogenesis and reduces the glucose uptake and its utilization. Insulin is a hormone which acts in an opposite scenario. That is, it is a hypoglycemic factor. It will come in when the glucose level is very high. It acts on hepatocyte and adipocyte and enhances cellular glucose uptake and utilization. So blood glucose rapidly moves to hepatocytes and adipocytes. Thus blood glucose level decreases. This results in hypoglycemia. It also stimulates glycogenesis. Glycogenesis means glucose is converted into glycogen because the body wants to lower down the amount of glucose which is present in the blood. Diabetes mellitus occurs when there is a prolonged state of hyperglycemia. That is, the sugar level in the blood is continuously high. So the symptoms include loss of glucose through urine, formation of harmful compounds like ketone bodies. So such people, because their insulin is not working properly in the body, they can take help from outside. They can take insulin therapy where they can take injections of insulin or tablets. Gonads are of two types, male and female. The male is testes, the female is the ovary. Testes is the male primary sex organ and an endocrine gland. A pair of testes is present in the scrotal sac. It is formed of seminiferous tubules and interstitial tissues. The Leydig cells in the intertubular spaces produce hormones called androgens. So these androgens help to regulate the development, maturation and functions of accessory sex organs. They help in sperm production, that is called spermatogenesis. They stimulate a person's sexual behavior, growth of muscles, hair, aggressiveness, low pitched voice, etc. They help in anabolism of proteins and carbohydrates. Ovary is the female sex organ. A pair of ovary is located in the abdomen. It produces ovum, that is the egg, during the menstrual cycle. This ovary is formed of ovarian follicles and stromal tissues. The ovarian follicle produces a hormone called estrogen, which is the primary female hormone. After ovulation, the ruptured follicle forms a structure called corpus luteum, which secretes progesterone, which is a steroid hormone. Estrogen stimulates the growth and activity of female secondary sex organs, development of ovarian follicle, female secondary sex characters and sexual behavior, and development of the mammary gland. The function of progesterone include that it supports pregnancy, it acts on the mammary gland to stimulate the formation of alveoli and milk secretion.